Damn it. I was so close. I was running all over the place today. I got an excuse this time. Anyway. All right. So here we go. Let's just get started. So I am doing buying today. I've actually got my orders all set. I've decided to diversify a little bit. David Gallo, morning, Jesse. I screwed up yesterday and didn't grab MSTR. Do you see 280 still filling? It could. I don't know, though. It was a pretty good washout yesterday. Let's actually pull up MSTR real quick. So the multiples, the MSTU and MSTX, they just got walloped yesterday. But this is a pretty good bounce. Could we still fill this gap? Yes, we could. But the thing that you often hear about gaps, and there's one over here, there's a little one over here, there's one over here, one over here, is that gaps don't have to fill. They can. They usually 90% of them do. So will it still get down there? Yeah, it could. I think it could. I'm not so focused on it though. It's got a pretty good bounce today, up 4.1%. We could trail off again today, guys. We could totally drop more. Here's the way I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it this way. I got out. I was able to buy the dip lower, which is great. You know, getting little nuggets at a lower price is great. Yeah. MSTX paid out a dividend and reduced the stock price. I bought. You bought it, had a hard fit. Yeah, it was down like 24% last night, so I don't blame you. And after hours, on top of being down 17 to 18% earlier in the day. So I get it. I would have had a hard failure too. I'm glad I got out of that, frankly. The leverage stuff, I'm so glad. I'm really glad I reduced leverage by, 2.5 million-ish dollars over the last few weeks. I don't think that was a mistake at all. I'm very excited about it. And this could, again, the head and shoulders that I showed yesterday, it's legit. It is there. We could totally crash down. But I look at it this way, and I posted about this earlier. With Bitcoin right now where it's at, we could drop 15%. It's possible, right? But it also doesn't have to. And if we look at NVIDIA, where is it here real quick? Oh, you know what? I'll just drag it over. I got it over here. I keep forgetting I got my other monitor set up. So if you look at NVIDIA, you can see the same kind of thing, right? Like left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And don't get me wrong, they're a little lumpy. These shoulders are a little bit higher than you'd want to see it. Maybe you want it like down here or something. But whatever. It tried to do it. It went underneath. It broke down. It did its breakdown, but it didn't do its measured move. And then it just popped up really hard because, again, NVIDIA has high levels of demand, and it's not even overvalued in my opinion. If we look, like AMD has a forward PE of 29. That's not bad either. That's actually pretty good, especially for a tech company. But if we look over here at NVIDIA, it's only 33. It's only 33. I mean, if you look at like a Palantir, it's really hard to make a case that like something like NVIDIA is overvalued, which you can see why it bounced, right? Like 158.33 is Palantir for its forward PE. Tesla isn't even that cheap. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla is 113. So both of these are really, really high numbers. And when you have NVIDIA at 33 and change, it just doesn't seem that bad. Is MSTX a good buy now that it's low? I don't know, man. It could be. If we've hit the bottom on Bitcoin and we're getting ready to rock it up, and again, we know, just looking over here, is that Bitcoin? Nope, that's MicroStrategy. Is that Bitcoin? Nope, that's NVIDIA. There you go. We've got this descending trend line, right? It was resistance, 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 support, 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 support. So it's actually done a really good job holding it as support. And we've gotten more recently here, again, very strong impulse off of it, broke back down. I would say this is a fairly strong impulse right now. But again, it could go either way. We've got the MACD trying to curl up on the daily, showing some divergence to the upside. We've still got this, powerful downward divergence. But again, you could argue that this is kind of played out, right? If you look at this timeline, like it shot up here and then it started to diverge down and got to about here, but it's kind of been going down. So, and again, on the daily right now, we're sitting at, 45, a pretty neutral zone for Bitcoin. So it could go either way. We could go up, we could go down. When does MSTX pay the dividend? I don't know. I don't know when they pay the dividend. It probably has something to with the date. Let's just look here real quick. It's probably on TradingView. Give me 1 second. I'll look, and then we'll get into other stuff. Because today is going to be a pretty full day, I believe. Hey, Adam, what's up, dude? Lewis, I believe they pay the 3rd. If you own today, you should get it. Okay, yeah, we can confirm that real quick too. So it says dividend payment date, yep, 3rd, and then the execution date is December 31st. So if you own it today and you hold it till the 3rd, you're going to get paid. Actually, if you don't even hold it to the 3rd, if you just have it today at the end of close, then you get the dividend. Don't forget, markets close at 1:20 Central Time. So yeah, we have an early close today because of the holiday. And then again, tomorrow is a new year, guys. This is the monthly close. So, and somebody made an argument that some of these stocks like MSTR, where maybe they bought high and they had losses into them, that they got extra crushed yesterday. For anybody who bought high and they got crushed, they might have been doing some tax loss harvesting. That's possible too. But I'm looking at it this way. So let me go back to Bitcoin. And I showed this image earlier. Actually, I'll just go to the post. Why not? So with Bitcoin, could we drop further? Yes, we totally can. That could happen. Might happen. I'm cool with it if it does. But here's the way. Oh, got to like my post. Kind of a requirement. If you guys want to like that post too and maybe say something, it gets it a little extra exposure, and I really love that. But again, we've got this basically descending triangle. You know, it's kind of breaking down here, and that wants to break up. And if it can break up and frankly get above like 98, 99 range where we're back above peak volumes, then I'll feel really good about the trend. Let me just go down a little further here. Got a post somewhere. 1 second. Almost there. There we go. All right, so I said Bitcoin could still drop another 10 to 15%, but I'm not going to worry about picking up crumbs when the promised land is sitting right in front of us. And so I still have a high target, guys, of 280,000. My low target is 150. It's basically between this range, right? The 150 and 280 is what I'm seeing for the target, and I really don't feel like the parabola has started yet. But again, we could have some fuzziness at the beginning of the year due to the fact that global liquidity is lacking. I think all those things can happen. But I'm good enough for the drop. And so what I did, I actually did some purchases, and I posted this to subs. Let me just grab it up here. And at least this is what I have in place to go at market open today, so I don't have to monitor it. So I'm going to be buying 90,000 in SoFi, 100,000 in Hood, 90,000 in Nvidia. That's got a dividend on it. I'm buying 150,000 in TLT because I think it's pretty much bottomed, and you're getting about a 4% dividend per year on it. So I got two plays now, about 240,000, about $250,000 that are getting dividends. 30,000 in ARGT and then 90,000 in AMD. So that's what I'm diversifying a little bit out of MSTR and Tesla because I own so much of it. Again, with Tesla this morning, I'm guessing I'm probably going to be like 1.75, maybe even 1.8 million. And then MicroStrategy, I think I have at least 800,000. So I've got enough of those plays, I think. And so I'm just diversifying into other things. I think that'll be easier. JDubs 83, only bond markets close at 2 p.m. Stock market, full day of trading. Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying, JDub. Buy some snow, Jesse. Snow. Let's just look at snow. Let's look at the financials for snow, and then we'll jump into other things. And we do have some economic data coming out today, a little more than we had yesterday. Well, arguably a little bit more. Snow looks good from revenue, customer count, clients over 1 million, product line. Cash flow isn't even horrible. Their debt's increased a little bit last quarter. We had some share dilution, but maybe they did a buyback last quarter. They're really spending a lot on R&D. That's probably good. But net income, negative 324 million off of 942 million in revenues, forward PE of 208. This isn't really what I'm looking for right now. I don't know enough about the company. It looks like there's been more. It's kind of hard to see here. It's not a crazy amount, I don't think. Yeah, 20 and thousands of shares, so 2.5 million. So insiders sold 2.5 million shares in Q2 of 2023, a lot less than they bought. They sold more in Q4 of 2023. They bought a few more in Q1 of 2024. Then they sold more. So I don't know. Institutional ownership has been a slow decline. And what do their estimates look like? I mean, revenue's going up. They're talking about positive EPS, so that could end up being good. That could end up being good and helping things out a little bit. But I just don't know enough about the company, so I'm probably not buying. Uh, does anyone know what the big surprise for Hood is today? I think I think they're giving out a crypto for people that have it. I don't know what all it pertains to. Maybe it's a sport team thing or something else, but that's what I'm thinking. Grok says U.S. stock market closes at 1 p.m. Eastern, which would be 12 today. You know what? I trust Grok. When does the stock market close today? Oh, New Year's Day. So it's closed tomorrow, and it doesn't tell me anything. I trust Grok more than anything, so I would assume that we probably have a 12 a noon close, unless we hear otherwise. Unless you guys figure it out. Buy Nikola. They'll make hydrogen vehicles great. Thanks, Rumi. Really good input. Appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. Probably going to skip that one. All right, so let's check real quick, guys. And so, again, here's kind of what I'm operating off of. There's so many conflicting signals right now. Global liquidity is lower. But then we have things like, again, for the last 2.5 years, if you would have bought in the zone that we were looking at here, that we hit this last Friday, or Thursday, Friday, right around there when we were in the 21 range for the fear and greed. If you would have bought in these range every time historically, it was a great time to buy. Every time for 2.5 years. So we have lower global liquidity, but now we also have talk about the Chinese government looking to stimulate, and markets are forward looking, so they're going to start to look towards the end of January as a time, even though the economic data out of China just sucks. They're going to be looking at it as a time where they're going to stimulate. And so I think the markets are looking ahead towards that. I think there's worries, jobless claims, unemployment. There's a lot of things that we can worry about, the wall of worry. But again, we normally climb that. That's what happens. We climb the wall of worry. So I don't know. I just don't know. Here, let me look real quick. I'm going to switch this to this week because I want to see. There's China data that came out last night, and I want to look at it. So again, yesterday we got conflicting data. Chicago PMI, bad, really bad. Let's just look over here. So the second worst read in a year. And if we go back again, 10 years outside of what happened here when we dipped in May of 2024, and then again in November over here, it was really the worst since the pandemic. So there's only been a couple of times before, 3 times before, going all the way back to the great financial crisis of 2008, where we saw these levels. So one could say that this is either just a really bad barometer for Chicago. And Chicago, left-leaning, woke, kind of stupid, kind of in decline for a while. But you could argue that this maybe is not unexpected. Again, they're a sanctuary city. They were taking in lots of illegal immigration. They're trying to fund it. By the way, Bitcoin at almost 95,000 now, guys, getting really close to that breakout line. So maybe that was to be expected, but pending home sales look good. So even with these higher interest rates, we're seeing home sales picking up. The real estate market's picking up before springtime and before the rates start to roll over. And if I look here, guys, the 10-year again is dropping again today. Let me just throw it up over here. Look at that. So again, this could be the support zone where maybe it stops and it goes higher. But it is nice to get a breakdown here at the 4.6, 4.7 range and start to see this roll over. And again, the 2 years doing the same thing. 2 years down even more today. It looks even weaker than the 10-year, which is good, right? You want the longer end of the curve to give you the greater amount of yield, not the 2-year. So I feel like there's some normality coming to a lot of that. And again, the housing market looking good, though. Some really strong reads, guys. If we go out here, max, like look at this. This is some of the strongest reads we've seen in a while in positive territory where we're actually seeing increases in home sales. So I like that. So that was, again, that kind of counters the Chicago PMI data yesterday. And then the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index, it's like, okay, well, the PMI is bad for Chicago, but look at the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index. We're in positive territory, again, after one of the worst routes since the 2008 Great Financial Crisis. Worse than 2016, worse than these blips in the 2010s. and worse than what happened in the pandemic. Even though the depth was much greater, if you add up the overall declines month over month all for the last several years, this was just worse. And we're climbing out of it. And this is before all the things that Trump is talking about doing. J-Dubs, Jesse, do you foresee a momentum trade into Hood after New Year's Eve when they release their reward gift? Maybe. I think Hood is a really good bouncer, man. I'm just going to throw this up, and then we'll start looking at more economic data. Because again, we got to check out China too. China says they're preparing for war. Xi says they're preparing for war. He says Taiwan is their land, and I take him at his word. I think he does want to take it. And again, we're going to defend it. We're going to at least wipe out all the advanced chip manufacturing in that region at the very least, because we don't want China to have access to it. So war is a very possible thing over this next year and into 2026. But when, I don't know. China's actually very weak. But if I look at the charts over here, guys, on Hood, look at the wick up on all this. Look at the strong momentum here. Fails, breaks down hard, wicks up really strong. Fails, breaks down hard, wicks up really strong, retraces a little bit, but it's, again, very strong. This thing is actually holding on really well. It's already tested down to 33. I like Hood. That's why I'm putting almost $100,000, or I guess $100,000 towards it this morning. And again, it's how many days is it from its last high? 1,246 days. So well over 3 years ago. Back in August of 2021. So almost 3.5 years ago when this thing was last at $84. I think the 80s are coming. I think the 80s are coming for Hood, and I want to own it. So I'm not waiting. China says that every year, but you have to realize, guys, since the pandemic, at the start of the pandemic, they had like 150 nuclear weapons. Now they have closer to 550 nuclear weapons. They're building battleships. They're building drone fleets. They're actually, in the last couple of months, they've made it to where military fighting men need to register for their draft. So they're not just saying it. They're strategically building up their military, Lisa, and in very dramatic ways so that they can do it. I think there's very little that Xi can do right now to prevent his overthrow. And going to war with Taiwan is a way that he can at least employ men that do not have jobs right now. And youth unemployment is probably at least 25% by my projections. They stopped releasing the numbers years ago. Once it got past 21.45 or something. So they very much, like, Xi wants to go to war. Xi wants to go to war. He does. It's the only way he can maintain power. I don't know if he's going to be able to, though. I don't know if he's going to be able to. There's a lot of stuff going on in China. You never see it in the United States because Western media seems to have a bias that's positive towards China so that they can maybe use you guys as exit liquidity. Retail, I mean. And then also, like, YouTube is just full of content that's sponsored by the Chinese government. So I don't think people get a really good view into China at all. And again, it's a communist regime too, where they tightly control and regiment everything and have cameras even in the poorest of neighborhoods. So, and then when you have 150 million people that are tied with the CCP, over 10% of the population, it becomes really hard to say anything negative. What do you think about ASML? I should probably buy some. I mean, they're like the biggest foundry, or lithography machines on the planet. So I should probably buy some. Albert, if China starts military draft for all men over 18, it will take time, new units to be properly trained. Yeah, but if they're just cannon fodder, I don't know if it matters that much. It's probably more about population control because they need to, if they're going to go to war, they have more than enough people to go to war and more than enough military to go to war right now. They're just building. And again, I don't think they can win it. People don't realize this, but they have 20% of the population of the earth roughly, and they've got 10% of the arable land. So they can go to war again. It's just you're going to hear about, maybe 100 million people that'll starve to death and die. But it's not like the CCP cares about people. It's not really their forte. They're happy to harvest organs out of Muslims in the Northwest and overthrow, who overthrows Tibet? Who overthrows, seriously, the Dalai Lama came from there. But, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Uh, and they will but from January 1st. And they will but from January 1st. Jordan Carter, market does not close at 1 p.m. Eastern, same time as always. Okay, cool. I'll go with that. We'll say Grok's wrong. We'll say Grok's smoking crack. But yeah, Hood's already up 2% today. So when I buy in, it's going to be at a higher number. We got a few things looking good, guys. Let's just take a look at the stock heat map index. Let's look at yesterday, and then let's look at today. So this is yesterday. Not so good. Pretty red. It's been getting beat up. And if you look at the week, I guess the week isn't as bad. It's kind of mixed. The crypto week was not good. But if we look at pre-market, we're getting some love. We're getting 1% on Tesla. We got Amazon up. We got Nvidia. Got a lot of the big guys. United Healthcare is down. That's pretty much it. But today feels bouncy to me. And sometimes I just go with my gut. Tyler talks about small caps. Yeah, I actually don't hate small caps right now. If we pull up the rut, I really like the technical pattern on here. Again, just like previous resistance levels, broke above it, couldn't get above it, couldn't find support, broke above it, couldn't find support. Been finding support pretty clearly over the last 3 weeks down here. So the Russell I actually kind of like from a technical pattern. Maybe Tom Lee starts to win that argument. China has a demographic problem, says Sumit. Losing younger populations will hasten economic decline. I know it's like Russia. Russia going to war didn't help Russia. They already had demographic problems too. China has it worse because of their one-child policy that went on for over a decade. Killing all the babies because you want to, and people literally probably killing their girls because they wanted boys so that they could work out in the fields and aborting them or whatever. There's a lot of stupid mistakes. Centralized government, guys. If you think centralized government's good, you guys look back through history and you tell me one that's really worked out well. Singapore is probably like one of the best stable dictatorships I can think of. But yeah, it doesn't usually work out very good. You got to be you got to be benevolent. You can't be malevolent. If you're that, you're fucked. If you're just thirsting for power, and it doesn't turn out well historically. Albert says training does matter for ops like that. They already have the biggest military in the world by population. And the amphibious assault is definitely not going to go well. Again, Taiwan's been building up for that for a long time. Biden has been funding a lot of weapon systems to help defend Taiwan. But when you look at the sheer size of China and you look at the size of Taiwan, I think it's taken fairly easily. It's just we have to destroy the chip factories. We got to wipe out 90% plus of the chip production of the world. If they do that, that's what we do, right? Like that's our caveat. That's Trump's ace. Is like, oh, okay, you can have Taiwan, but you don't get any of the chips, and you send us all into a Great Depression. So, if they want that, if they want mass famine and starvation and to get overthrown, I mean, go to war with Taiwan. It'll work out great. It'll work out really good. Speaking of small caps, what do you think about MVST? I don't know it. And we can get back to stock requests here in a little bit. Real quickly, I want to look at the CNN Fear and Greed Index. I don't want to get into stocks until later. I want to talk about like all the big picture stuff that matters. We got some CNBC talking heads talking about the Trump 2.0 economy. I'm kind of interested on that. So again, we went from 21 to 28. That's progress. And economic data. So again, the economic data we got was a little mixed yesterday. Chicago PMI weak, but again, doesn't that kind of make sense with the whole sanctuary city and just all the bullshit and mismanagement in Chicago, because there's tons of it. And then pending home sales, very positive. Dallas Fed manufacturing, positive, really positive for the first time in a while. This is before Trump starts doing the, if you spend $1 billion, we'll in the United States, we'll give you expedited regulatory approvals, including EPA. But let's look here. Let's look at other stuff. So MBS manufacturing PMI in China, 50.1. Previous was 50.3, consensus was 50.3, forecast was 50.5. So this is a reduction heading into contraction territory. But again, some of these numbers I believe are highly manipulated and more positive than they should be. The war would pose chip industry risk. It would. Tons of it. So even though I'm invested in Nvidia and AMD, there's a reason why I only have it 180,000 out of my, almost $6 million in investments, right? It's because of that chip-related risk. Might be a great time to buy them, though. Technically, the DPRK has the absolute largest army, bigger than China. I doubt. Yeah, but if you look at equipment and everything else, that's a technicality, I think, right? Like China's got a lot more power. Anyway, NBS non-manufacturing PMI. So what did they say here? Oh, they said they got a pop in here. Non-manufacturing got a pop. 52.2. Previous was 50. Consensus was 50.2. Forecast was 50.4. This shows that non-manufacturing purchase managers index had a major uptick. Let's read what it says. I don't trust any of this, by the way, but we're going to read it. I want to hear the narrative. China's official NBS non-manufacturing PMI rose to 50.2. In December, it was 50. Yeah, pointing to the highest figure since March, exceeding market forecasts of 50.2. The latest reading indicated that the recent flurry of stimulus measures by the government and the central bank is beginning to yield results. Though progress remains subdued on an ongoing headwinds, new expected orders stabilized following previous contraction. Both new orders and employment declined at a milder pace, with while delivery times lengthened slightly. In terms of inflation, input prices increased after falling in November, and the decline in selling prices extended further with the rate drop of similar to November. Finally, confidence reached a 9-month high. Just bullshit. Again, I don't trust any of this. And general PMI says roughly the same thing. China's recovering, guys. Put all your money into it. It's going to be great. Red Book. So at 7:55, roughly 25 minutes from now, we'll get the Red Book retail sales numbers that, again, encompass about 90% of the market. We get the Case-Shiller home prices for month over month and year. We get the house price index for month and year. And then we get the Dallas Fed services at 9:30. So we got a decent amount of data between now and 9:30. And then again, Wednesday, market close for New Year's. Kaizen manufacturing comes out of China. Again, probably more bullshit data. Hong Kong is probably a closer representation. It's slightly less fabricated. And then yeah, Thursday and Friday will be the big economic days. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Let's jump over though and look at news-related events. I do agree that superior numbers will overwhelm Taiwan's air defense systems and wreck them, but infantry are ultimately the ones who must take and hold the territory. So amphibious. I mean, they don't even have to do that, Albert. They can just literally blockade. They can blockade the island. Take a look at Taiwan and where their energy comes from, and figure out how well they do with a blockade. It's not very well. Tyler Casamente. Has there ever been a time in history where we didn't get an altcoin season or a small cap run before a bear season? No, and we've already kind of had some altcoin seasons. They were talking about this yesterday in James Invest Answers. One of them was I forget the guy's name. He's pretty smart. Not Marty Party, not the other guy, but he was talking about how memes and then the old legacy coins kind of had an alt season. I mean, again, XRP was up 500%. But it's a rotation. He thought that AI coins were coming in next big time. So very interesting. Alejandro, I don't care about Ionic much. There has been insider selling at the previous price level. Amazon hasn't sold a single share. Interesting. I wouldn't bet against Jeff Bezos. They don't care. So Amazon does not give a shit about Ionic at all. It's an inconsequential amount. It would be like me owning my less than my positioning on Palantir, which I own $1,500 worth. For them, it just means jack shit. They don't give a fuck about Ionic. Again, if it turns into something and they make a bunch of money off of it, great. But I hate talking about technology that isn't producing any revenues and has no real world value when you're looking at a fundamental or a financial basis. It just bores the shit out of me. Vishal Man, do I have to worry about wash sale laws or anything else as well? I mean, if you're doing wash selling, yes, you do. You do. All right, anyway, bookmarks. Market's looking kind of green. I agree. It's looking bouncy. We're at 95.6 on Bitcoin. I like that. Again, it's kind of getting near a breakout zone. If you look in the bottom quarter, guys, it looks like it's trying to break out of that red descending triangle. Triangle? Yeah. All right. Anyway, what was I doing? Let's get back over here. It's geopolitics. We're going to go over a lot of stuff today. So geopolitics, I'm liking the geopolitical scene, guys. I'm loving it. Look at Pierre Polivier. This is in Canada. Listen to this question real quick. It's great.
Idlo Musa with CBC News. And Mr. Polyev, if you could also answer this question in French as well as English. The government is coming out with a $1.3 billion plan to address border security. Do you think that's enough to stop Trump's tariffs? And if it was up to you, how much specifically would you spend on border security? What number would you put on it?
Well, you ask a classically CBC question, which is how much money can you spend on a problem? Well, that's the wrong question. That's exactly the question Trudeau has been asking for 9 years. It's the reason
I love this guy.
he's doubled our debt while making everything worse. You know, for example, he spent $80 billion on housing affordability. Well, how'd that work? He doubled housing costs. He spent $60 million on his gun confiscation. 0 guns. He spent millions on a school food program that hasn't served a single solitary meal. So we should not judge a program based on how expensive we can make it. We should judge it by what it can do. How many helicopters? How many drones? How many boots on the ground? That's the question I will be asking when I'm Prime Minister. And how do we deliver it for the lowest possible price to taxpayers? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a Prime Minister who said, we secured the borders, we put more boots on the ground, we stopped tons and tons of fentanyl from traveling back and forth, we arrested the terrorists, we shut down the organized crime, we reduced gun crime.
God, he kind of reminds me of Anthony Noto. That's fucking weird, Albert.
And by the way, we did it with less tax dollars. That's how our mentality has to change. We have to stop judging politicians by how expensive they can make things and start judging them by the results they get. You went into a restaurant and had a terrible experience. The food was awful. You got food poisoning. The service was bad. You wouldn't walk out and say, but it was great because it cost me $1,000. And because it's the most expensive restaurant around, it must be the best. No, we judge the meal by the food on the plate and the service that delivered it. That's how I'm going to run a common sense conservative government.
Yeah, kind of like Bill Maher too. I agree, Mr. Monkey. But this, the content of what this man is saying is brilliant, right? Like this is what we should be focused on right here. And so Canada in December, guys, they're voting this guy in. I think Germany is probably voting in a right-wing government too. Conservatism is taking over. And Kekius Maximus, otherwise known as Elon Musk, would like to talk a little bit about that. And now the liberal parties in Germany are saying he's interfering with the election because he's saying, I think the AfD is going to win. Now, irregardless, I don't care about the politics of the AfD. I don't give a shit at all. I just know that they're more right-leaning. I know they're more conservative. I know they're more fiscally responsible. That's my understanding of it. If I'm wrong, correct me down below. But again, it seems like there's a shift. There's a shift that's occurring around the world, and I'm all for it. Unusual Whale says the U.S. president-elect has vowed to swiftly end the Ukraine war without giving details on how he might achieve that. And again, we know Putin wants to end the war. I don't know if Zelensky does. He probably is going to miss the money because, again, massive amounts of money that have been flowing into that country. But they can't fight it without our money. So that's just the gist of what it is. Update News says, and this is December 27th, so again, it's a little while ago, following the collapse of government and the call for early elections in Germany, President Steinmeier, Platform X is a danger to democracy. Isn't that funny? That sounds very Brazilian of him. Very, very Keir Starmer from the UK. That's about it on the geopolitical front. Stuff that we have not already went over. Marty Cohen says, FAG, I agree. Polar is what Canada needs. Marty Cohen, CCP is wounded animal and wants to bring the rest of the world down with them. Yes, specifically the CCP, not the Chinese people. The Chinese people are definitely wounded. They've been brutalized. They had a growing and successful economy for almost 30 years, over 25 years, and they had hope. And they saw capitalism and meritocracy. They thought that if they worked hard, they could achieve great things. They had all that stuff, and they had a lot of success. And now it's all being stripped away from them. So that usually doesn't turn out well historically when you look back. Good morning, Jesse. Thanks for always giving your best and not just being up only head. I appreciate that, man. Victor Hernandez, Germany, France, Belgium, Sweden all have huge illegal immigration problems that legacy media is censoring. Yeah, and they want it. They want it. I don't know why. But the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund, these groups, again, they want illegal immigration. I don't know. They believe that just I don't know. I think they want chaos so that they have control. That's the only thing I can guess. But Terrible posted breaking Pentagon reports states China's military buildup is the largest since the 1930s Nazi Germany. Should the U.S. be concerned? Yes. I put Xi is making it very clear that the world is heading towards war. Mario Nawfal said Xi's New Year message: Taiwan belongs to China. President Xi said no one can stop the historic trend of China's reunification with Taiwan. While delivering his New Year message, he said that both sides of the Taiwan Strait belong to one and the same family, per Reuters. He wants war, guys. Again, he's went up 3x in his nuclear weapons since the pandemic. There's an obvious shift here. He's spending his money on war. It's not on the people of China. So Jeff Lutz, he submitted this to his subscribers. I must be the only one because I liked it and retweeted it. But it says 40% of South Korean companies that set up manufacturing on the China mainland plan to scale down or leave within 5 years due to rising local costs, increased domestic competition, and the U.S.-China trade conflict escalating. Significant leverage to be gained here, but also a significant risk. So again, 4 in 10 Korean firms in China plan to exit, relocate, and downsize in 5 years. And it says the Korea Institute of Industrial Economics and Trade, the Beijing office of the Korea Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Korean Chamber of Commerce in China polled 500 Korean companies. So when you're looking at this, 200 Korean companies plan on leaving China. This is just one country. This is just one country. The outflows from China, guys, are going to be devastating. I hope people realize this. Kobayashi Letter said, furthermore, China's oil demand has collapsed. China's crude oil imports declined by 3.4% in the first months of 2024, the largest drop since the pandemic. China has effectively reduced their crude oil imports by 411,000 barrels per day. Oil producers are panicking. And again, we don't have November, December numbers in here, but we do see a decline from 2023. And really, we see a flatness since the pandemic, guys. Look at what was happening before for oil to increase. And now it's just gone. It's gone over the last 4 or 5 years. Guess what? I guess when you lock down your fucking citizens for 3 years and you give them, COVID swabs every fucking day and you destroy all the small businesses and then you go after the educational platforms and then you go after the gaming industry and then you go after Alibaba and Jack Ma and all the tech companies and then you start pilfering the rich in different areas where you've got these local government financing vehicles that are heavily indebted and these governments don't know how to pay back the debts. And so the only thing they can do is steal from the rich. You talk about eating the rich. That's what China's doing. China's eating the rich. I can tell you how well that works out if you go back through history. It is not very good. And again, the treasury yields, their yields are collapsing in China. It's not a good thing. It's not that everybody's going towards China as the safe haven of the world. It's that it's hard for average people to get their fucking money out. And so they're buying bonds because they think it's safer than being in the stock market or real estate market. And they're just desperate to put their money somewhere where they don't believe it will collapse. So let's be very real. All right, AI and chips. Let's jump to that, and then we'll get to Bitcoin and the rest. Ripster says, NVIDIA, here's everything that is happening with NVIDIA today and why it's bullish into 2025. So again, risk, China-related risks, high with chip makers. I totally agree with that. But aspect, industry expansion, NVIDIA plans to enter the robotics industry, capitalizing on its AI technology leadership. And I believe there's room for them, man. The robotics is going to be huge. Tesla is going to be at the top. But these guys make great chips, and they could definitely be up there. Key partnerships. ByteDance plans to spend $7 billion on NVIDIA's chips next year, highlighting NVIDIA's strong position. This actually, to me, is a risk just because of where they're located. Applications, TikTok, owned by ByteDance. Again, this is risk. Utilizes AI for features like filtering, editing, and content. This is a risk if we're talking about war. Strategic developments. NVIDIA's push into robotics termed as physical AI, integrating AI with physical interactions and predictions. Earnings insights from Q3 earnings call. Rapid growth in industrial and AI robotics with significant applications in various industries. Cool. Industry adoption companies like Foxconn and Amazon are using NVIDIA's technology to improve operational efficiency. Again, there's a lot of China-related risk here. Just wanted to throw that out there. But again, Peru, Saxena, has an article over here from the Financial Times just saying NVIDIA is betting on robotics to drive the future growth. And I 100% agree that's the way to go. And again, AMD, it says, in my latest Meta update, I explain how, according to Zuckerberg, Meta's upcoming Llama 4 model will require 10 times more compute than its Llama 3.1 model, which runs on AMD's MI300 for inferencing. As AMD continues working closely with Meta, there's a good chance AMD will also power Llama 4's inferencing capabilities. So again, I think the data centers where AMD makes a lot of money, but maybe they can do all right too in other areas. Let's go to the U.S. economy. Do you have any thoughts? No, I don't have any thoughts on China's DeepSeek supposedly outperforming ChatGPT and Meta's AI for a fraction of the cost. I don't have any. If you actually ask the model, it basically says it was trained by OpenAI. And I don't have any input based on that. I think creating your own LLMs in China is a fucking nightmare. I think all they can do is steal what we have. Because when you live in a society that censors everything and you don't have truth, how do you have a large language model that can give you anything of value? It's like ChatGPT or Gemini when it was first launched, and you would ask it about the forefathers, and it would show a black man as Thomas Jefferson. I mean, it's just not. It can give you shit, but is it accurate? And that's what really matters. In China, with the censorship regime being so powerful there, AI just isn't going to work as well. You can graft it towards specific functions and steal large language models from the United States to where it can know truth, even if your people cannot. But I don't have any hope in their AI programs and in their compute. If anything, man, we're gonna be separating from them more and more and more if they want to go down that path, and that only hurts them. We have the upper hand in every way, so I'm not worried about DeepSeek at all. MB, since you have briefly touched on AI coins, can you look at virtual? I know you want me to look at virtual, MB. I can look at the chart here in a little bit. Just hit me up. I'll look it up. And I know it's one of the ones, if you guys follow Invest Answers, there's one dude on there that talks about AI coins. He's probably pretty helpful if you're interested in that kind of stuff. Me, I've already locked in on my shit coins. I really don't give a fuck about any of it, but I can pull it up. It's just a little bit obscure, so save it for the end. Income Sharks. He said most bullish scenario for 2025 is a correction for the overpriced, hyped stocks like Ionic and AI plays and maybe nuclear if anybody still gives a fuck about that. And maybe some others that have already run really hard. I agree with that. And I would even throw Palantir into this. It went up 1,300%. So I agree. The overhyped stocks, the high PE stocks should roll over. And undervalued stocks that have been red all year should rebound. I agree with that. I think that's what's going to happen. I see sector rotation occurring. And crypto sees capital rotating from stocks to pro-crypto administration that offers tax incentives or reclassifies assets. I don't know about the latter part of that, but again, if they do a strategic reserve or any of this other stuff, I think it gets really good. Mando, thank you. Thank you, Austin. That's his name. Thank you. Mando on James with Invest Answers. He talks about AI coins a lot. Yes, that's right. And he's a good dude. He's smart. He's really smart. I like Mando. I like all of them. I like Marty Party. I like the whole crew. Really smart people. If you guys don't have time to watch me, you should watch Invest Answers. He's better anyway. Arcadian, why is it that none of the innovation starts in China and they always try to beat the first movers by making a cheaper? Yeah, it's because they steal. It's all they can do. I mean, it could be a lot different than that. But that's how they took the reins from Japan. They stole innovation. And then we literally gave it to them because we just did partner programs where they stole all of our proprietary technology. And then they made us exit markets. That's all the CCP knows how to do. It's hard to have innovation in a country that is controlled by a dictator. It's just hard. History tells us, again, that it does not work out. Zach, do you think most miners have yet to run? I think they're getting ready to. I think miners are getting ready to bounce. I was very impressed by CleanSpark yesterday, guys. It was down. Let me just show you real quick CleanSpark. Let's just jump over here before we get into more U.S. economic stuff. I mean, look at this. This is a bullish pennant. It's a huge fucker. But this thing went down. CleanSpark is down 62% from where it was in March. It's done. It's done dropping. it's done dropping. And I could see this bullish pennant turning out all right. I could see something essentially like this heading out of this. Again, this is probably where our new high is. The .786. I think we can get to 40 to 60. Honestly, that's my take right now on CleanSpark. I think we can get to 40 to 60. And I don't know exactly when we do it, probably between now and September, maybe October. But my targets are much lower. But if we get to if it goes up 300%, it's not even 300, it's more than that. Let me go down here. Because again, I bought stock. I think I bought like 30K worth of stock yesterday. I didn't buy options. I almost did, but the order didn't complete. 321% upside if it hits my low. And again, if it hits my high, this measured move out of this pennant, 530% upside from where we are right now. I don't know. That seems pretty good. And again, I just think, and here, let me do this real quick. I'll just draw it to my low. So from my low to my high target, we're 320% to 530%. And you'll be surprised, guys. If you're new to all this, you'll be surprised. We got 150% just to get to our previous high in March. Really, it's 200 to get to this next zone. You'll be surprised how quickly sentiment turns around on miners once the price goes up. All the emotions, everybody, same with MicroStrategy. Everybody that said MicroStrategy was going to zero, it's up 4.6% already today, by the way. But everybody that said that's like, oh, MicroStrategy is a Ponzi scheme, they'll all disappear and nobody will listen to them and they'll unfollow them as the price goes up. It's just how things work. People are weird. Human beings are so fucking strange. They're very, very strange creatures. Hard to understand sometimes. Data, analytics, charts, way easier. But yeah, so we're up 470% from the low right now. And again, I feel bad. And I was one of them too. I lost some money on this. Luckily, I had other good things, but this was up 1,300%. And I still think it has the ability to go up this cycle to where it's up 2,200%, all the way up to 3,400% from the low. So the people that benefit from that are going to do really well. What is the volume setting you have on? On the right, you mean? It's the visible range volume profile. You have to have premium to get it. It's right over here. It's this thing right here, right here. And I just hit it again, so I want to close it. That it's a must-have. I couldn't function without the visible range volume profile. Oh shit, I got rid of the wrong one. Mother budger. I'll have to copy that over. Whatever. I'll just kill it for now. But yeah, I couldn't live without the visible range volume profile. It's beautiful. And I guess I'll bring it back, but now I gotta fix the fucking colors. I don't know why they changed this shit. I hate it when people change the defaults. It's so annoying. Let me just go in here real quick. 1 second. Visible range volume profile. I like to change the row size to at least 1,000 because I like more precision. You see how much more precise it is when you do that. And then the colors, I'll fix the colors later. But again, you can see this massive volume shelf underneath of us. We're on the 200 moving average on the weekly time frame. There's so much support right here. Yeah, I think it is, Remo. I think we're going up. That's the way I'm leaning, man. I think yesterday was the moment to buy. I put about 120K into the market. And I'm not even looking to buy crypto today. But I think the markets are going to go up. It's just my gut telling me this. I could be wrong. Sometimes my gut overrides concerns about global liquidity and other stuff. And again, like if we look at the fear and greed index, it looks positive. Oh, hey, I think we got economic data. Oh no, I'm sorry. It's coming in 4 minutes. We're going to have the red book year over year, guys. Can we infer anything from the tiny green candle on CleanSpark? Not the tiny green candle, but we can from the support levels, right? Like, look at the volume profile here. Look at how powerful that is. It's the third largest volume profile in the history of this. Or I'm sorry, fourth. Technically, this is a separate one. This is one. This is one. But it's a huge amount of volume on something that has already fallen. Let's just look here. Right now, from where it fell yesterday, it's already fallen over 60% from where it was in March. So, yeah, I mean, it's probably done. It's probably too greedy to look for more. It's just not going to go down here. It's not going to go down to 6. I just don't see it. It's not going to go down to $5. If you're looking for that, you're not going to get it. From a technical standpoint, I could see how somebody could believe that. I think we may get another dump on the certification on 1.6. Maybe I have PTSD, but I think there will be some shenanigans. Okay. I mean, I I doubt it. I doubt it, honestly. I don't see it. I don't see it. Uh, are you familiar with Serve Robotics? No. NVIDIA has apparently invested in this company, recent IPO, very small company. Yeah, no, I'm not. And again, NVIDIA is investing in everybody. It doesn't mean it's a good company. Um, let's just look at their financials. Let's pull it up real quick for 2 seconds. But yeah, so if you're just looking at the things that NVIDIA is investing in, I don't even know. I can't even find it on here. I'd probably have to look at the ticker separately. No, no, I'm not looking at it. Could it do all right? Could it run? Sure. I don't have time to look at every single little tiny company. I don't invest that way. Johnson, I think we may get another dumb. Oh, that was you. I hope you're right. Sure, I might be. I might be wrong too. Again, I've got my investments. I could still pull out of like a couple $100,000 from something else to buy on a drop. I don't care that much. I just want to chill. I'm focusing on my health. Rob Group, one of my followers here who might be watching right now, he is him and his wife are helping me with fitness regimen and getting healthy using their app and MyFitnessPal and Aura Ring and a smartwatch, Galaxy Watch 7. I'm going to be working a lot on my health, and I'm going to be going to the gym after this. I've got things I need to focus on. I can't just be looking at tickers all day. I want to focus on the big stuff, and I'm getting too involved in the weeds, and I don't want to miss the forest from the trees. So I'm going to be focusing on my health, and I'm going to be focusing on big picture stuff. Or a ring. So it's great if you want to monitor your sleep at night and other fitness related stuff like steps and things. It's really great. And you pay a $5 a month membership, I think, for it. It costs like $300, but it's way easier to sleep with something like this. And so I can monitor my sleep, and it does all these little tests and things. Let me see. I don't even know if you can see all of it. It's got all these lights and things in it that trigger every once in a while and keep track of like your pulse and all kinds of stuff. Man, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, so I'm focusing on my health because I think I'm going to be able to better serve my family, my friends, and you guys if I'm healthy, fit, and sharp. And I don't get that by sitting around all day. Can I look into what, Brandon? MBIS is another NVIDIA investment that looks awesome. The Google of Russia starting back in the Google of Russia. I don't know. Yeah, we can look at it. Let's save that stuff for the end. We're still rocking and rolling here. So, anyway, I agree with Income Sharks. Seth Golden, small cap fundamental tailwind for 2025. EPS growth set to soar after slower EPS growth rate in 2024 already boosted small cap performance. So again, he's showing forecasting going forward here. So we got 2024, right? We got EPS growth, and this is showing earnings in blue. It's showing net income in gray, and it's showing revenue in kind of a blackish color. And so it's showing growth in all these. And then that's picking up. Earnings go down slightly, but again, net income goes up, revenue goes up, and EPS or earnings still look good. And then again, revenue goes up, earnings look good. This is forecast for Q2 of this next year. And net income looks good, and we see earnings growth. And then again, the forecast for Q3 is crazy earnings, more revenue growth, and more net income. And then it starts to decline after Q3. So this is the forecast for the small cap EPS ramp. And again, I don't know a lot of people are talking about this, but I think this is good, and I think this is some of the stuff that we see Tom Lee looking at too. Financial Juice said South Korean CPI year over year actual was 1.9, forecast was 1.7. So South Korea actually shows that consumer price index is actually showing that prices are getting a little more expensive. It's just another thing to monitor. Michael, what's up, dude? Jesse, now I have to work today. I was already determined for light walk and then weights. Awesome, man. Yeah, get healthy, guys. It makes sense. Jack, Jesse, and a Lambo 2025. Yep, I'm going to get my Huracan with my carbon fiber hood and red and get muscled up and enjoy being wealthy, get my mansion, and go swimming a lot in my indoor pool. That's the goal. That's the goal for next year, guys. Let's trade. Any suggestions for small cap startup position? I have not been focusing on it well enough to be able to speak to it. I'm really not there. Tom Lee's probably a better one to look at. Again, he's got some of his granny shots and stuff. His ETF, I guess doesn't encompass small caps, which is kind of weird. But he does have some small cap picks that he talks to, so you could maybe check that out. I don't know if Fundstrat made a video today. If he did, I didn't have time to look at it. Let me just jump back here real quick. So I see the one from Sunday. He did one Sunday night. And let me just see if he's got another one. We'll see if anybody's got any media here. And I'm not going to share all this stuff, but again, I love this site. So it looks like Sunday was the big one. I'm going to click on latest research here. If you guys want, you can find... why am I not able to pick that? Is that it? Here we go. First to market. Keeping up with the Joneses is costing. A daily market update. What you need to know ahead of opening bell comparison is a thief of joy. Theodore Roosevelt. I mean, that's true. I don't know what that means in regard to this. And it looks like Santa rally faltering, but fundamentals remain the same. Video with the weakness in equities since December 24th is largely due to profit taking. Arguably, a drop in the market breadth is somewhat constructive. So he's bullish. We'll leave it there. But it looks like he's bullish. But again, they've got their granny picks and all this other stuff. There's a lot of good stuff. Health is wealth. Man, when you don't have health, it's the only form of wealth. And I've got enough medical problems right now that I need to fix. Anthony Oakes, Jesse, can you save the VRVP settings as default at the bottom style of the tab defaults? Maybe. I should actually probably do that. Main stage news, Jesse, I have a lot of acid reflux issues too. I had a feeling a feeding tube as a baby. Have you tried betaine, HCI, pepsin? And yes, I have not done a lot of that. I did do some of it. And I've been using something called Supergut, which I love. David Friedberg from the All In podcast, one of the billionaires on there. I love Supergut. I love it. It's got pre and probiotics in it. It helps quench some of my hunger. I drink it twice a day. You can do up to 2 servings a day. I drink it with almond milk with no sugar. I've started doing that. That's helped me immensely. But I haven't really done too much of the betaine recently. I might try more of it when I'm eating small amounts of food. I'm trying other things too, like kimchi and a bunch of other stuff. I'm trying to be healthy. Charlie Massey, Rex's small cap OSS has really been soaring. Chart, please. Yeah, we can take a look at that in a second. Charts come at the end. Micro to macro, credit cards were not the problem in 2008. It was oversupply in housing with huge speculation. This is a bottom. Cohorts that are struggling. It's sad, but economically insignificant. And so, again, global market, there's a few people that post a lot of bearish stuff. And so they were talking about how U.S. credit card defaults are skyrocketing. Write-offs and serious delinquency loans spiked 50% year over year to $46 billion. Credit card defaults have doubled since 2022 and hit the highest level since the 2010, a year after the financial crisis. So if you look at this stuff, the sky is falling, but credit card defaults were like the least of the worries. And the 2008 great financial crisis. It was all about housing. It was all about, strippers and waitresses owning 3 or 4 houses in Vegas and trying to flip them in order to be able to make money. That was the problem back then. And again, I showed this yesterday, but I just wanted to reiterate, if we see what happened with Trump in his last term, this is showing, and there's 2 different versions of this. This one's kind of aligned in a way that makes it look a lot closer to what it is, or I should say a lot closer in the numbers. I think it's a little bit off. This is the more realistic of the 2, but it's showing 2024 so far, and then it's showing 2016. So it's showing that, from the election in 2016, everybody was worried about a strong dollar too, and then after Trump became president, the dollar actually started to weaken. I think something like that could happen too, maybe not to the same degree, but I do think that's really important to notate. Celis, sorry, what was that quenches hunger? It's Supergut. It's Supergut. David Friedberg is a financial backer behind it. But I really like it, and it comes in different flavors. There's like a mocha chocolate one or something. That's the one I like the most. And it's basically a powder. I drink it with almond milk because almond milk doesn't upset my stomach the way dairy does. And I have like a glass of almond milk, and then I have one scoop of that. And it's got pre and probiotics in it, and it makes you feel fuller. And so it helps at night, especially when I'm hungry. And I sometimes overeat. I mean, my entire life I've done that. Namda, oatmeal, kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir. Got to keep your gut. Yeah, those are all good. And again, I just had kimchi last night. It was delicious with a bowl of ramen and kimchi, and it was wonderful. Slim Shady, Germany won't vote a right-wing government. Our voting system works different. We probably will have a combination of moderate conservatives and socialists, and no big changes after all. We'll see. I hope it doesn't work out that way because you guys are fucked. You guys are fucked. So if that's the path you continue to go down, you're really fucked. You're really fucked. You should move. That's about all I can say about that. All right, let's jump here real quick. Let's go to Bitcoin. We'll go to Tesla, and then we'll move on. 8 o'clock, 29 minutes till market open. Again, I don't want to miss the forest from the trees. Could we drop down here? Yes. Do I care more about this? Yes. Franklin Templeton. And again, this is what I'm afraid of missing right here, guys. Day one, if we do a strategic reserve in the United States, whatever drop that was going to happen on Bitcoin is just fucking gone. Now, if we don't, maybe that turns into a drop. So it's a flip of a coin. But we have states doing it, other countries that are going to do it, and I think from everything I've been reading, from all the people that are in the administration for Donald Trump, I feel like they're going to do something with a strategic reserve, even if it's simple in nature. He's going to want to be able to boost this economic sector. He said he wants the United States government or the United States to be the leader of crypto and Bitcoin in the world. So I believe him. And so the $1.5 trillion Franklin Templeton says we expect to see strategic BTC reserves added by several nations, and I think the U.S. will be one of them. Swan said 6 new Bitcoin ETFs, and thank you. Somebody sent this to me in DM. I really appreciate you guys doing stuff like this when there's great posts that are out there. Swan said 6 new Bitcoin ETF filings within the past 72 hours. This was recent, the 28th. Strive Bitcoin Bond ETF, again, basically looking to encompass companies like Mara, like MSTR for bond holdings, all that kind of stuff, right? Bitwise, Bitcoin Standard Corporation's ETF. So again, a holding company for all the miners and maybe MSTR too. There's the bond side of this and there's the stock side of it. And then Rex Bitcoin Corporate Treasury Convertible Bond ETF. And then ProShares Bitcoin Hedged ETFs on S&P 500, NASDAQ 100, and gold. And so all of this, guys, is fuel for the fire and very exciting in my opinion. Albert says in the majority of European countries, it isn't winning party. It isn't the winning party. Oh, sorry. Isn't the winning party is the one that controls the parliaments. It's always coalition of parties that form the majority that form the governments. Yep. That's why Europe is so fucked. That's why Europe's so fucked because there's enough parties that are liberal in nature or love the World Economic Forum where you guys just don't get any substantive to change at all. People complain about our two-party system in the United States. I actually think it's better. I used to think differently of that, but Value Maxi, hey Jesse, your planned buys today don't seem to be in the asymmetric gains category. Do you see them that way? No, but I think they can do 100% plus on average between all of them, and so I'm trying to be conservative with this amount of money, and I already have plenty of asymmetric bets. Again, I've got almost $1 million in MSTR. I've got tons of Bitcoin miners, probably like 1 million in that, maybe more. I've got 1.7 million, or I'm sorry, probably 1.8 or more million in Tesla. I'm good. Again, asymmetric bets have a time and a place, and I've still got some in play. Again, I've got ArcG leverage out there. I've got PayPal leverage out there. I've got CleanSpark leverage out there. I've got plenty of asymmetric bets. I'm going to be dialing back on those this year. That's been the plan for a while, and I've been saying that for a bit. Jeff L., I asked a millionaire real estate guy in his 80s about the most important thing. He said, your health. Money means nothing if you don't have it. Yes, it's very true. Stephen Toro, have you seen this guy, Jason, all in podcast, always trying to take a shot? Jason's an idiot. He's one of the dumbest motherfuckers on the planet. He just happens to be a billionaire. He is shit on Palmer Luckey, one of the most intelligent people I've seen, who created the Oculus that is now the Meta Quest, and who has created Anduril. I believe what will be one of the biggest defense companies on earth. He shit on Michael Saylor. He shit on Donald Trump and didn't think he was going to win, and kept saying that Kamala was going to win the election, and that didn't really happen. He changed a little bit at the end. He's consistently on the wrong side of history. It's amazing that he's able to get anything right. So I don't really think much of Jason. I like him. He makes me laugh. He's just a fucking idiot. Timely investor, am I late? MSTX has a dividend. Just got an alert. I think you have to own it today in order to get the dividend. Double check, but that's what we were looking at earlier. Maybe Adam Palantir 3030 can speak to it. Mob 74, how do we hope we do great in 2025 with all the smart minds backing Trump? Let's go, Tesla. Yeah, dude, Tesla, Bitcoin, and miners, MSTR, all that stuff I think does really good this next year. And maybe ArcG and PayPal and these others that have kind of been plays that haven't done as well will start to benefit as early as Q1, Q2. Buffett OX, I have a Fidelity HSA account. Any recommendations on if I want to hold an ETF of Bitcoin or what the new ones versus the Fidelity versus the BlackRock? Does it really just pretty much come down to expense ratio? Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at ETFs, then you might probably want, I mean, BlackRock's probably going to be the best. It's going to be the most liquid. Adam Frasino, Jesse, when's your next vacation? I don't know. I probably should take one sooner. I don't even have anything major planned till June. I'm sending my mother-in-law to Panama so she could visit family here in a couple of weeks. But I don't have a major one planned. I probably should. Shivam, can someone please explain why MSTX got a dividend but MSTR stock didn't? It's a separate. It's its own ETF. They issue what they issue. MicroStrategy doesn't do dividends. They give you a BTC yield. Value Maxi, Shivam, MSTR is a company and MSTX. Yeah, thank you. Young investor, I love these kind of people because they're both the bottom and top signal. Jason, yeah, he's an idiot. JDubs83, Jason is a complete clown. Yes. No Tesla leverage anymore? Nah, I'm good. I don't want to, I'm trying to reduce my leverage, guys. I made 600% last year. I made what I believe will be close to 100% this year. I plan on making 200 to 300% next year. And I don't need a lot more leverage to do that. And after that, if I get to 15 million next year, I'm okay. I'm okay. It doesn't have to be 30. If it's 30, great. 15's okay. I can live with 15. Alex, Jason is worthless. Listen to yes. Okay, I see the pattern of stupidity proven. Yeah, not a lot of high opinions in Jason. Jesse, let's go to PR when BTC hits 400. Puerto Rico? All right, cool. I'd be down. Herndon 39, can you explain asymmetrical play? Asymmetric bets. So I did a lot of those in 2020, 2023 and 2024. I still had a bunch, but basically, I don't know. I've done some videos on them. You can look at them. Especially my Option 101 video kind of talks to it. I look for things where I can find options contracts or an underlying stock that can give high levels of return. Palantir treated me really good. Meta in the 70s treated me really good. Tesla in the low 100s treated me really good. It treated me good again at the 150s. When I see major swings where a stock is just super cheap and I think that the macro is okay and I don't have a lot of risk, I will place asymmetric bets where I can get a 3 to 10x multiplier of the underlying asset with an options play. And I think that there's going to be a good one with TLT in the future too for downside risk. Right now, I'm just buying TLT, but I might switch that into puts, calls for TLT if I believe that the economy, if I believe that the government is creating a more sustainable future and I'm worried about the economy rolling over, I'll probably switch to calls on that. And that would be an asymmetric bet. It could give me, 3 to 10x. Macro Polo, with all you said about China and war, isn't it bad for Tesla company? Yeah, but not nearly as bad as it used to be, and even less so in the future. If we go to war with China, yeah, it's gonna suck, right? they got a mega factory there for mega packs and for cars, and they produce a lot. It would be bad, but if you look at Tesla, they're diversifying away in mass away from China. Excuse me. MicroStrategy leaps don't look that good unless you're going way out on the strike. And I'm not willing to take on that risk. Not now. Not in the current environment. War with China could literally make everything different. All right. Any more Bitcoin stuff? Again, I was saying we need to get above the 50. Still true. Ideally, we get above 98.5, but right now we're real close to this number around the 96 level, so we're touching the 50 moving average on the daily time frame. Amit, no, I'm not planning on doing a video on TLT. I did do it last Friday, though, at the end of the video. And if anything, I'd just parse it out of that and then post a separate video, which I'll try and do. But today's very busy, so I don't know. But if you just want to look at Friday's video near the end, you'll find it. All right. Yeah, I don't think... is there a lot more to talk about here? Not really. I mean, Saylor did his buy yesterday. It was a low amount. I think he's going to do more in the future. Tesla. Oh, hey, real quickly, I do want to go to altcoins, though. Jason's on Epstein's list, maybe. So Jake said Solana's coiled up, and I kind of agree here. I think it's getting ready to break out. I think Solana's well overdue for breaking out. And again, Trader, Tardigrade on December 30th, posted this too, just saying Sol on this chart. This is the 2 hours, not a great chart. But I don't like those smaller time frames, but just showing how it's coiling up. The 4 hour probably looks similar to this too. Sold Tesla calls to buy Hood yesterday. I think Hood is a good diversification play. And again, you're reducing risk. I mean, yesterday probably, if you did it yesterday, that probably wasn't the greatest time to sell your Tesla calls. But I do think Hood's going up, and that's what I'm buying today. So yeah, anyway, so just talking about Solana, it looks like it's a bounce zone, and I agree. Tesla. Oh, my voice is rough today. I might have to cut this one early, guys. Solana's the best performing altcoin, in my opinion, going forward. Most developers are growing. Yeah, it looks better from a lot of regards. This is funny. I said, so we don't have to, we don't know how to do the whole FSD thing, but how can we make money? Oh, I know. So this is Hyundai. They're going to charge you with their new Palisade. They're going to charge you $3.40 a month so you can do this. Does anybody want their lights to flash when you start your car for $3.40 a month? It's just fucking retarded. It's really sad. Hyundai was doing so well. They did a Korean brand doing really good for a while. I've got some water. It's not helping. One of the problems I have, again, gastroparesis, is my throat. My esophagus is just really broken down over time. I need to get another tube down my throat to figure out how it's doing. Been probed up the ass and down my throat more times than I would like to, especially for a dude. All right, Troy Teslike, who's not gay, by the way. Tesla is expected to release its Q4 2024 production delivery numbers on Thursday, January 2nd, around 9 a.m. So again, Thursday is going to be the day, guys. So we'll have tomorrow off, and then Thursday, no laughs on that. Then Thursday, we'll get our Tesla delivery numbers. I think they'll be good, but I'm just not that focused on it. It means very little to me. Steven Toro, Tesla literally gives you the freedom to build the most insane patterns for free and open source. Tesla's amazing. Yeah, exactly, right? You don't have to pay $3.40 a month. Albert, gasp, what an insane innovation by Hyundai. How will Tesla possibly catch up? Flickering lights. I know, right? You can literally do that for free. MB, if Tesla is the Apple of cars, who will play Samsung role in your opinion? Nobody. Probably BYD. But BYD, honestly, isn't even close to Tesla. They're just not. If you add up all their hybrids, they look like they have bigger numbers, but the hybrids are like cheap trash. Raku, I had similar gastro problem, tried many medications for 10 years. Diet and exercise helped me overcome in 3 months. I think that's it, man. I've done Prilosec and all this bullshit. It doesn't do anything to help. And now my poops are light colored because I take all these antacids. Not that you guys need all that stuff, all that information. So again, China-related risk for Tesla. Their Shanghai Megapack factory is in trial production right now. So, and China, to be clear, Xi Jinping has made it clear in the past that they should be ready for war by 2027. But I think 2026 is probably when they try. Maybe sooner. I don't know. I don't think they're in a good position to try right now. Oh, did you already do a deep opinion on the shares of MicroStrategy? They increased. I think 2025 will be mostly convertible bond debt. Um, I think that again, there's people that argue about whether or not Bitcoin's price is going to go up between now and the next year. I think you got to realize that at least for the next 6 to 9 months, historically, the price will go up. And so everything that Tesla or everything that Bitcoin is doing, or everything that MSTR is doing, is accretive, and it's going to turn out really well for them. And again, if we just look at the latest updates with Ben Workman, let's look here. Yeah, he does a good job keeping the model. I can look under the MSTR tracker, but I actually like the way this one visually looks. This is from 23 hours ago. The amount of Bitcoin you're getting per share is just going up. And the way they have, people don't look. Jesse's poop on a bingo card. Love it, Kane. People don't look at the way they've structured their debts, but literally for all the debts that they're issuing, if you have 400 billion in collateral or 400 million in collateral off of $2 billion in debt, that's amazing. They're also structuring their debt between MicroStrategy and MacroStrategy, so they're separate entities. And then in some cases, the debt doesn't even have collateral that is due with it. It's 0%. Some of these things go out to 2030, literally the peak of the next Bitcoin cycle. They just don't have issues with their debt obligations and concerns about whether they're going to be able to pay them back. They just literally don't. And their Bitcoin is going to be good. And then they're talking about creating 31x dilution to buy Bitcoin over the next 4 years. They're basically creating a floor for Bitcoin. And so if this thing ends up going to a 300% premium again, or 3x premium, whatever it is, let's look at MSTR tracker. I think it's 1.8 right now. Yeah, it's 1.81 NAV premium. So if it goes back up here to the threes, like up in this range again, it's probably not a bad time to take some money off the table. If you have any leaps or MSTX or MSTU, definitely get rid of that shit. But this, again, it's going to jockey here for a while. I think it's the second order regression line. This orange one, I think, will kind of be the central line. I think it's saying too much for the linear regression greater than 40K. I think that's asking too much. But this thing can do really good, and people will make a ton of money off of it, and they'll pay a premium for it. They will. I'm losing on my account, but I trust your work. Thank you for everything. I hope you and your family and community have a very happy new year. I think over the short term, you can definitely lose. I don't know how long you've been following, John, but you should do well in the long run. And thank you for the tip, my friend. Jesse, check out the book William Davis called Super Gut. It will get you corrected. It did me. Okay, cool. I like that. That's easy to remember too. Somebody said something about what part of the almond are they milking? Somebody said something about almond milk. I was just going to check it. Jeff L. Jesse, careful with almond milk. Almonds have lectins, and store-bought stuff have so many gums and other chemicals. Geo. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll take a look. I'll try and make sure that it's a cleaner version of it. I know we pay a bunch for it. I don't know if you have one you would recommend, but I can take a look. I can't do dairy. I just can't do it, man. It kills me. Chandon, hey Jesse, did you get around to making the video that talks about key hedging opportunity? It's literally just going long calls on TLT, but I'm not looking to do it right away. And you could see it at the end of Friday's video. I'll try and parse it out and just cut a piece out and make it into a video. Adam says, I'm thinking about getting a Model Y, but was thinking about waiting for the Juniper. I can wait. Hopefully the Juniper is amazing. I would wait for the Juniper. That's what I'm doing. My wife has a Model Y, and market opens in 10 minutes, guys. A little less than that now. But we're waiting on the Juniper to get her a new one, and then we're going to give the mother-in-law hers. It's literally Q1, man. Q1 for us, maybe Q2 for deliveries in the United States. I would wait for that. Stephen Toro, my girlfriend, Trezor only on BTC. I'm 100% on Coinbase. Would you advise moving less than 50% to a wallet? Just remember the risks with a wallet. Make sure that you understand them. Never lose your seed phrase, dude. Never lose your seed phrase. and make sure it's in a way that's indestructible. They've got these metal things that you can put the seed phrase on. That's probably not a bad idea, just as a backup. Put it in a fireproof safe. Make sure the safe is like bolted to the fucking ground so somebody can't steal it from you. Just if you're going to be custodying yourself, guys, you got to take initiative to ensure that you're doing a really good job. Otherwise, you're the point of failure. Will RFK begin to stop our nutritional minefield? I hope so, Silas. I hope so. Because, again, just all the bullshit that is put into products, it's dangerous. Stephen Toro, my girlfriend got me a Trezor BTC only for Christmas. I'm 100% on Coinbase. Yeah, again, just make sure that you're safe with it. Make sure you're safe with it and that you do the right things to custody it. Otherwise, you could be creating more problems than you're fixing. Market, let's look at the heat map here again, guys. I'm just going to pull it up. So MicroStrategy up almost 5%, looking good. Let's pull up the heat map for the market real quick here. No worries, Steven. So again, yesterday sucked. Pre-market today looking better, looking bouncier. We'll see if it can hold. We'll see what the data looks like today. But so far, United Healthcare and like whatever this little thing is down here, MCK, whatever the hell that is, the only real red I'm seeing outside of some super small caps. Yes, it must become easier to get and source unadulterated foods. Yeah, dude, it should. It's like the red dye and stuff. If Europe does anything right, it's they regulate their foods more. We don't. We just love to medicate people. I hate our fucking medical system. Again, my buddy Rob Group, thank you very much. It was a pleasure meeting your wife yesterday too. I'm looking forward to documenting my food intake and understanding my nutritional needs better and getting healthier. And I don't want medication. My doctor, all doctors do in the United States, guys, is they've got a couple things they want to do. You go to the doctor, they want to do a test. They got to do blood work, maybe an X-ray, something like that, ultrasound. If they do that and then they prescribe you a medication, max payout. So if they run some tests, blood work, maybe again an X-ray or something, or an MRI or an ultrasound, and then they give you a prescription drug, boom, they make so much fucking money off of that. Max payout. You want to have at least a couple of diagnoses that you've talked about, and you want to have some drugs that you've given, and you want to have some tests that were performed. And if you do that, that's the medical system in the United States. And anybody who's here is a doctor, you don't have to say you agree with that. I know you do, because I used to work with a software company that provided software for urgent care facilities. And we provided their entire like check-in process and helped them with billing, and we had a billing division, and you were always trying to upcode. It was all about making more money. And that, unfortunately, is one of the downfalls of our medical system. Is it's not incentivized for preventative care. It's incentivized for you to be broken and them to fix you with drugs that create other problems, and just get you on an endless loop of medications. It's the thing we do the worst in America. We've got some amazing technology. When they do fuck you up, they can give you all kinds of surgeries and other stuff. But so much of it isn't preventative. I have sleep apnea. In case you guys didn't know this, I had sleep apnea. I did a sleep test, and I found out I was waking up 80 times a fucking night, where I was going back to consciousness because my tongue was rolling back in my throat. Again, probably inflammation, probably a bunch of stuff that are problems that I built up over time from not taking care of myself. But you know what they wanted to do? They wanted to put me on a CPAP or whatever, a breathing machine. I tried that for one night and said, fuck that. And I looked up alternatives. You know what I found out? I found out that I could get a retainer from a dentist that can use to pull my lower jaw forward to prevent my tongue from rolling back. And my sleep now is infinitely better. I sleep like a fucking baby and I don't snore anymore. Just from one little fucking plastic thing in my mouth that resolved my problem completely. And they wanted to get me on this thing where I've got to pay them for these tubes every month, and I've got to pay them to rent the machine. I was reoccurring revenue for the medical system. They loved it. And they didn't get me for more than a month. And then I found a way to completely eliminate the problem and to where I'm just a normal person again in that regard. There are better ways. Do your own research. I hate to say that because I used to think that was crazy, but you have to do your own research. Human to Gunner and Gracie says almond milk is absolute garbage, and almonds themselves are absolutely problematic consumed regularly. Do you have alternatives? Because I can't drink milk. Can you guys give me alternatives? If you can give me alternatives, man, I'm willing to try anything. Here's what I know. I can drink that stuff, and it doesn't kill my stomach. So chronic sleep apnea and ADHD are highly correlated. I have ADHD. I've had it my whole life. You can probably tell by the stream. Anyway, back to work. Water. Yeah, that water doesn't go down very good with that drink, though, man. I drink lots of water. Coconut milk is better? Okay. How about goat milk? Where the fuck do I get goat milk? Where the fuck do I get goat milk? Drink goat milk. Thank me later. Okay. Can I get goat milk from a regular fucking... I'll try anything, guys. Where the fuck do I get goat milk? Musk milk. Shut the fuck up, Justin. Oh, you guys. I love you guys. Buy a goat? Fuck. You guys are awesome. All right. Thank you. No nuts milk? And EU, we do have goat milk at the supermarket. I'll see if I can figure out where goat milk is. I'll try anything. Investment in Jesse's health. That's what this has turned into, Lars. Let's move on. We got 2 minutes to the bell. Let's get over to CNBC. We'll wait out here until we get it. May want to try raw milk. Ooh, that scares the shit out of me. Trader Joe's. We don't have a Trader Joe's. I'm in the Midwest. In the part where I'm at, they don't have one. Lactose-free milk? Yeah, that might be all right. I don't know. I got to do some research. Elon's milk? Shut the fuck up. You guys. We do need to milk Elon more. Agartha. Asgard Ball. I love that name. Yes, you can buy goat milk. Do some research. You'll understand why that's more expensive. I don't care about price. I mean, I could give a shit. Price doesn't mean anything to me. It used to. When I was poor, I cared about price. Now I'd rather be healthy. I need Tesla to go to 1K in 2025. Let's do it. It could. I think 600 to 900, but I'm conservative, evidently.
We'll keep an eye on energy prices, of course. You can see nat gas is pulling back. This is after what was a huge surge yesterday. Had been up as much as 20%. Of course, there have been
Yogurt's
some
good,
forecasts
yeah.
that say
I'm just talking about with my drink for my super
things
gut.
are going to get very cold in the northeast part of the country, for example. Also, some questions about the ability of Russia to continue
I just want to say milking a cat that has not been declawed sounds super dangerous.
to ship gas
Try kefir. Kefir isn't a drink, though, right? Or is it?
to certain parts across Ukraine, believe it or not, which I didn't even know that was still something,
happening.
given what's been going on for 3 years.
It's sort of a leftover deal.
Yeah, a leftover deal that may ultimately come to an end. And then, of course, that means perhaps Russian gas won't find a home in some way, and
Limited
more
supply.
pressure on the U.S. to produce and therefore and export.
I might try coconut milk.
But a pullback today.
Yeah. Definitely a pullback. It's a dramatic move from the early 2024 lows, but I think it's fascinating. If you just look at a really long-term chart, these are not challenging levels in terms of expense.
No
under
Whole
$4 for natural gas. I mean, you were above it.
More charting. Yeah,
you were
Victor,
at
I'm down.
5+ 25 years ago. You know what I mean? So the
Kentucky
domestic
bourbon.
Production story remains very friendly. So this is, on the one hand, beneficial for gas-levered energy stocks. They benefited yesterday. On the other hand, it's not really inflationary and obviously still pretty low on a nominal basis in terms of cost.
Milk anything with nipples. God, you guys are great.
There it is, the opening bell. Final time for the year. You can take a look at the real-time exchange back at our headquarters. Here's the big board. Planet Fitness celebrating its 10th year as a sponsor of Times Square's New Year's Eve celebration.
All right. I don't know what that guy's doing. He rang the bell and he's still like hovering his hand over it. Planet Fitness. I've got a membership there and another place. All right. I got 2 memberships. The only reason I have the Planet Fitness one is because they have something called a Hydro Bed. If you guys haven't done that, it is a must. It is a must. All right, let's switch this to the daily, and we'll also pull up the tickers over here on the watch list. It's looking pretty bouncy today, guys. Simler got wrecked yesterday. MSTX, again, you see that massive drop from their dividend. My second choice after Ripple milk, though, is Silk soy milk. Great complete protein. See, I worry about soy. I hear so many negative things about soy. How did your test BCP 157 go? I'm sorry, what are we talking about? All right, let's see here. BitDeer up, Simler up, Hut up, MicroStrategy up, Move up. Oh, hey, did my orders close? I should probably check. Order filled, order filled, order filled, order filled, order filled. Did they all fill? Let me see here. Yeah, I think they filled. My orders are done. God, I love technology. I didn't do shit. All right. All right, that's it. Let me just post this real quick. I'm just going to post this, that my stuff is done, and get this on the Discord real quick. 1 second for that. My comment got lost in the milking Jesse issue. Jesse, you should check Nvidia's local LLM with your own data and YouTube videos. Nvidius? What is Nvidius? What is Nvidius? Sorry. Can you give me a little more detail? Is this like a investment related thing? And why is it interesting? Just curious. All right. Let me see here. Orders completed. Subs. And then, all right. Indeed, Jesse is almost replaceable by AI. Really close. Super replaceable. I think there's enough of me. There's enough video of me to replace me, I think. If you guys want to make your own channel, and there you go. Boom. Done. But personality, is it ever really replaceable? I don't know. I like to think not. Discord. Probably. It's probably replaced. Probably can be left. All right, everyone. If I spell it right. Boom. There we go. Done. Done, done, done. Let's look back over here again and see how we're doing. I just liked on X about NVIDIA new ChatGPT on local data. MU's going. Yeah, Micron might be doing good too. Kefir is essentially liquid yogurt, but better for you. Okay. You guys are great. Nah, AI Jesse won't have the jokes. I don't think he can come up with the shit I come up with. AI Jesse isn't talking about milking Elon Musk. That's just not happening. Nobody's brain is quite as fucked as mine. All right, here we go. Let's sort. Again, looking pretty strong here. The bond volatility index is up a little bit today. MSTR is up 4%. Whatever. Bitcoin's looking all right. What's down today? So CleanSpark only up 2.72. I guess that's not too bad. It didn't drop that hard yesterday though, so it was actually really resilient yesterday. It was kind of surprising. Look, Neo's up today. I wonder if that's and Baba's up. Live Jesse is irreplaceable. Yes. Yep, we broke 96. We really got to get higher though. If you look, guys. Oh no, well, we're close. You can see how we're pushing that 50 moving average. I'll bring it up on the big screen here. You can see how we're pushing the 50 moving average. We really need to go higher for Bitcoin if I can find it. There we go. So right here, guys, you can see how we got right up to it and then backed off. We really need to get above the 50. I'd like to see us above, 97, honestly. If we could do that, that would be great. Jesse, how many years of videos are online of you? Just a year and a half. Yeah, about a year and a half. Year and a half? No, less than no. Just a little over a year. Just a little over a year. It's been about 13 months, I think. He would get stale. He would be boring. Not as creative. Not as creative as this guy. Definitely boring. All right, real quickly here. I'm going to jump over. I got to use the facilities super fast, okay? I've been drinking lots of fluids today.
Other side of each
We're going
constellation.
to listen to these guys, and I'll be right back. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Brands, by the way, been terrible. Nobody's drinking alcohol.
It's
I don't know what's going on with these
amazing,
young people. They're not drinking.
I don't know what they're doing.
I think they're getting high, but I don't think they're drinking very much.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is amazing, and that's also in the context of, you know, just sort of consumer branded goods just not being a strong part of this market. I mean, that's been, if anything, that's a bullish thing, and meaning that they're truly defensive stuff, food and beverage, you know, the kind of paper products, all that stuff has really not done anything. To the extent the consumer staple sector has worked at all this year, it's because of Costco and Walmart. Largely
Walmart,
because they
there's
happen to be
another one.
there.
Walmart shares up over 72% for the year.
I was just looking at the momentum ETF and the S&P, and Costco and Walmart are like in the top 8. You know, because that's just the way the math works. If you within a sector, if you show that much momentum, you're going to get in there.
Well, it also kind of speaks to the psychology that you mentioned earlier on in the show, which is that those names that do tend to work in a specific sector kind of just get all the attention, get all the flows, and then continue working from there.
Yeah.
I
mean, it was the case without a doubt before the election, or maybe let's say before mid-year in banks, where it was like JP Morgan just consuming all the oxygen in the group. Now there's been a little more catch-up. It's been a little more diversified. Of course, Goldman and
mute these yahoos. Do I own MU? Not really. I started to go down that route. I might have some. I might have some, really small amount. But I'm kind of staying with the big dogs for the most part. Sugar, I'm trying to reduce sugar on everything. Everything. Getting high and popping pills. What are you talking about? Okay. If AI Jesse is muted, it will pass the tour. Oh, Chinzo. Thanks, man. All right. So let's just look today. So Tesla's flat right now. And again, we might roll over some more. I don't know. It could happen. It could happen. I really don't care much. Let's see what we have, though, for economic data. Let's get over to here. Hey, guys, there's the hottie you were all excited about yesterday. Talking about BlackRock. What is she talking about? Let me see here.
They're influential in things like, maybe on the right, it would be things like ESG. On the left, it would be also potentially ESG and other issues. And so they put forward these rules, and they're going back and forth with BlackRock. And they now have this deadline of January 10th to give to BlackRock to essentially accept these proposed measures for greater oversight if they're going to own more than 10% in bank stock. Now, this largely applies for BlackRock.
So quick question I got here. So, Corey said, very new to this. Isn't MSTR supposedly supposed to be like 2x Bitcoin? It was actually 2 to 3x Bitcoin. It was closer to 3x Bitcoin before it had its big fall. If you look at this cycle, it was like 3x. And yes, MSTX is supposed to be 2x that, but it actually, MSTX and MSTU can actually trend even higher to that. But there's danger in those, man, because they could totally blow up. That's the risk. They could literally blow up. The funds could just implode because they're having issues too. The companies that they work with in order to be able to basically use their derivatives, they've been fucking around with them and making it to where it's harder for them to track the underlying. And so there's a disparity where sometimes it's doing like 1.5x when it's supposed to do 2. And the downside can be really painful. The upside, though, could be beneficial. If you look at like one of the recent runs here in MSTR, it went up like 400%. And during that time, MSTX and MSTU averaged 1,300. So you got better than 2x. So again, it's a risk to reward thing. I'm not willing to risk that much right now, personally myself. But there is an opportunity there if somebody is brave enough. It's not me. All right, so let's look here real quick, guys. So we got the retail sales. We skipped over that. We need to look at it. And then we've got the S&P Schiller home price and all that stuff. So let's look at retail sales. It says 7.1%. It looks like it's ticking higher. With the best read that we've had since the beginning of 2023. So best read in 2 years on retail sales numbers. And again, this makes up, guys, if we look down here under the descriptor, this makes up roughly 80% of the equivalent of retail sales. So that's a good sign. That looks good. And this S&P Case-Shiller home price year over year was 4.2%. That is above consensus, but below forecast at 4.4. Let's just look at it over here. And again, it's in decline. This is probably good. We want home prices to come down. We want them to come down because we want the market to open up. We want people to think, oh, hey, I've missed my time. Oh, hey, we got Dan Ives talking. We're going to jump to him in a second here. Actually, let's do it real quick and we'll get back.
Revolution. Some of his top picks are NVIDIA, Microsoft, Tesla, and Palantir. He's Dan Ives, Wedbush Securities Analyst. Dan, welcome for the final time this year. I'm sorry you're not here. I am fairly certain in saying that you were the most frequent guest on CNBC during the course of 2024. We greatly appreciate that. And even more so, the fact that you largely have been right, Dan. You're going to be wrong one of these days, but it wasn't this year. Why don't you think it will be next year as you continue to be so incredibly bullish on so many different names in technology?
No, thanks so much for that. It's been awesome to be on the whole year. Look, to me, it's all about hand-holding investors through this AI revolution. And I think we're looking, in our opinion, this is still only the second inning of the 9-inning game. And everything we see from all of our spending is about the multiplier. For every dollar spent on Godfather of AI, Gentivity, on those chips, there's a $8 to $10 multiplier across the rest of tech, which is why I continue to believe that tech stocks are going to be up 25% into next year. And it's only 10 p.m. in this AI party that goes to 4 a.m.
Right, and you've been saying that for some time. I think you may have moved us an hour later. I'm not sure along the way.
It started off at 9 p.m. now. It's 10 p.m.
Okay, it's 10 p.m. Dan, there is this question as to, are investors going to start to demand to see a real return from all the investment that's been made? The hundreds of billions, frankly, that will have been invested and will be invested in the coming year as well by the hyperscalers, for example. Do you think that demand will be made, and will it be met?
Look, that's been the big question. I think we started to see that inflection point with the message of Palantir, because I think if you look at Palantir, that was the first one in the use case that we start to now see these things play out across enterprise. Then Salesforce, that was a huge moment where we saw from Benioff in terms of that last quarter. I actually think software is going to be the key. I think the use cases are expanding across the board. I mean, we have use cases and enterprises that we're talking to up 5x in terms of deploying AI and what I ultimately use cases even over the last 6 months. And I think that is going to be the key as this all plays out. Look, $2 trillion of CapEx, AI CapEx next 3 years. Fighting that is going to be tough, and that's what I continue to say. The bears can find AI in the spreadsheets. I get it. These companies have to execute. But execution's been there, and now it's going to be about the rest of tech. That's why we laid out. Those are the top 10 plays that we see for AI in 2025.
In terms of enterprise AI in particular, you think the two best software plays are Palantir and Salesforce. What are some examples of software companies that you are more doubtful of their AI potential?
Look, I think Adobe, you'd have to be a little more doubtful in terms of, what they can do. I think obviously still huge potential. I think when you look at, I think IBM's had a lot of success, but to me, it's really who are the ones proving it out. It's Palantir, it's Salesforce, I think it's MongoDB, it's Snowflake. I think Oracle's having a huge renaissance of growth. And then you're also going to see, with Khan done at the FTC, you are going to see M&A skyrocket across tech. These big tech players are going to get stronger. They're going to get bigger. And I think that's going to be a huge theme that plays out across 2025 as the strong get stronger.
Dan, just tell me why I shouldn't be concerned if I own Palantir that it trades at 50 times sales, and that the insiders have been selling hundreds of millions of dollars worth of stock in the last 6 weeks, it's gone vertical, and they keep trying to goose it by getting into different indexes.
Dario, just to be clear, with MSTX, they have a dividend that's going to be issued for people that hold it through today. Today's the execution day, and it's a big ass dividend. It's like $14 or something. I don't know. Maybe you guys can clarify. So I think you'd want to hold it through today, and then the execution date when they actually give it to you is like the 3rd of January. So that's a pretty big dividend that could help up with some of those losses. So just to be clear, plus I think MicroStrategy and Bitcoin are going to be reaching the point where they're bouncy. I mean, you do you, but honestly, like the whole crypto space seems like it wants to go higher, even though Bitcoin could still roll over. It seems like it wants to go higher, in my opinion. But I would probably, I mean, again, not financial advice. You probably want to still wait for that dividend.
It just feels like a very promotional situation
Since you're
for
down
an
so much
admittedly
anyway.
strongly positioned company that just seems like it's become a little bit of a cult.
Yeah, look, Mike, I definitely
Why is it down before the dividend? I could be wrong, guys, but my assumption would be that they're using some of the value to be able to issue the dividend, which means that it's like dilution, right? That's my take. And so it's down because of that.
bear debate. It's almost reached Tesla-like sort of emotional bull bear debate on Palantir. Look, to me, it's really about, it's not about in the next year in terms of what this thing's trading at. I view it as, can
somebody correct me if I'm
Palantir
wrong.
be the next Oracle, the next Salesforce? If that's true, and I believe that's true, then this is a name that goes much higher from here. In terms of what you're talking about, I think that's why you got to focus on AIP as they prove out this sort of enterprise use cases, and can this be something that expands to ultimately 30-40% of this overall revenue? I think that's the key. But I don't get too caught up in some of the noise. I just focus on all of our checks, and that's why Palantir, look, the haters, they hate it as a teenager, as a stock. Despise it as a senior citizen. And I think this is a stock that has potential to be 3 digits and higher.
Finally, Dan, I'd love to end on Microsoft because, and again, as I said, you've been right to be bullish, and so many of the names that you've been behind have had great years. Microsoft has not. It's trailed.
You had to own before today?
Tech. It's trailed the S&P.
Okay.
It's only up less than 13% for the year.
And then they pay
Why
out. Okay, so
are you
then
positive
they
on
pay
the
out
stock
on
going
the
into
third. That makes sense.
2025?
Yeah, and then look, that's one I think others have sort of joined when you look at Google and you look at Amazon in terms of the hyperscaler. A lot of it is, it's all the work we do talking to Microsoft partners. I think as these use cases
that makes sense.
all
Thanks,
these
Sid.
cloud deployments start to come through, I think the street's massively underestimating
Thank you.
Azure numbers. And I think ultimately what AI is going to do, I believe this could be 10-15% incremental revenue over the next 12 to 18 months. I actually think Microsoft is probably one of the most mispriced on large cap. It was Google, but I think going in 2025, that's why it's a table pounder, along with the godfather of AI, Jensen, NVIDIA. And I think $4 trillion will be on the horizon for Apple, Microsoft, and of course for NVIDIA too.
All right, but wait, mispriced. So it's mispriced because people are underestimating the opportunity that they still have, even though Copilot's been out for a year and it doesn't seem to at least be grabbing a lot of people, in terms of enthusiastically responding to it?
Yeah. I think they are underestimating what this is going to do to their enterprise business as the use cases actually deploy. You're in Microsoft and Nadella's backyard in terms of enterprise AI use cases. And as that comes through, I think we sit here a year from now, this has a 5 in front of it as a stock, and this will be the
totally makes
name
sense.
that I think is really kind of proves it out along with the rest of the software.
All right. Well, the good news is I know you're going to be back really soon for me to ask you about it again. So, Dan, thank you. Have a happy new year. Enjoy. Dan Ives from Wedbush. Before we head to break, let's give you a quick look at the bond market. Check out how treasuries have been faring this morning. Of course,
S. Romani says, morning, Jesse. When do you think the current liquidity drop will end of January? I mean, I think that's when the PBOC is going to be providing bunches of liquidity. They talked about $411 billion. They might even be starting some of that early. And then there's the fact that people are going to chase it ahead of time because, again, we look towards the narratives. So we can already see China today, if we're just glancing at some of this, it's trying to get a bid, right? Their stock market's trying to get a bid. BABA's up 1.1%. NEO's probably up too. I don't know. It's such a shitty stock. But I could see China trying to get a bid and trying to come back. They're going to pump their markets. We'll see how they end up. I don't know. I think as long as the liquidity gets monetized, they need to get it to where they start. Chinese New Year is at the end of January, exactly, and they like to pump up the markets heading into after that New Year's holiday, and so. But we got a lot of good things that could happen in the meantime. Again, if Trump takes presidency here in about 3 weeks, and he announces a strategic reserve, and they start doing things immediately where they're moving and shaking, I think the narrative could change very, very quickly for the United States and get people excited again about the markets, irregardless of what's going on in China and around the world. And there's not a lot of liquidity. Like there's been a liquidity reduction, right? But at the same time, I do think that the whole defense bond thing, I think the tariffs that Trump is throwing around there, I think those are going to be used as leverage to get the rest of the world to do what they want them to do. I think it's to get China to do what they want them to do. I think it's to get Japan and Europe to be able to buy defense bonds, to be able to help with the $7 trillion in debt that we need to refinance this next year, closer to the third quarter. So I think that there's going to be things that will help, and I think that honestly, I think Doge and Trump are going to be way more successful than people realize. I mean, you got to realize they already killed that omnibus bill that was like 1,600 pages long, and they were able to get it to where the government was still funded, and they were able to do it with like a 10% of the amount of complexity, which I think is brilliant. So I think, I don't know, I'm very optimistic about what they're going to be able to do in the first part of the year. And the global liquidity trend, the cycle, still shows global liquidity expanding throughout this year, and then coming to an end at the end of the year, closer when the government needs to refinance all this, $7 trillion in debt. And so, but if bond yields have dropped by that time, and again, we're pushing like a defense bond or something like that and getting Europe to sign on, otherwise they're going to get tariffed to shit, then we might be able to make it to where, where we're basically making it to where we're pumping up the economy. Lower rates are really awesome for the economy. Right now, the auto sector needs it, poor people need it, rich people need it, small businesses need to refinance debt at lower rates. And the federal government certainly needs to. And if they're able to refinance all the stuff at lower rates and push the debt along, then you're going to see expansion. You're going to see banks monetizing that and taking out, basically allowing additional loans and loosening up their policy in order to be able to monetize the debt and get it to where people are lending. That's why I think banks are going to do really well in the next year. That's one of the reasons why I picked up 100,000 almost in SoFi. I think it's still going to do really well, and so I'm excited about that one. Anyway, Options Johnny says, is it too late to buy MSTX to get the dividend? Yes, you needed to do it yesterday. Latest Pierre Police video. Pierre Polivier video. All right, I'll check it out. Oh, let me put it up on the right screen, though. Newly released. Wackos, the weird, wild wackos, and wonderful world of the people running our country. Okay. What the fuck is this?
Vote for the motion.
Mr. Trudeau, for.
There seems to be an overabundance of wacko events in Canada these days, but who's behind them?
Does capitalist democracy still work? That's the question being posed around kitchen tables.
But what exactly is a wacko? Is there an accepted general definition? According to vocabulary.com, a wacko is a person who is eccentric or mad. Merriam-Webster equates wacko with psycho.
What is it?
Dictionary.com says a wacko is a strange or odd person.
This is 11 minutes.
There's probably nothing to fear from most wackos. They often serve as an odd form of entertainment. But what happens if they get into positions of power? What happens if they run a government?
Wow. I'll have to watch this separately. It looks entertaining and probably accurate, factually accurate. But yeah, thanks for that. All right, let's keep going here. I don't know if there's much else, so let's pull up stocks. Give me what you guys want to look at. We'll do that part right now because, again, we've gotten a lot of the data, and it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad. Let me refresh here real quick. We have more data coming out for the Dallas Fed at 9:30, so I'll probably stick around for half an hour till that. And outside of that, though, the house price index, again, I don't know. Hey, the house price index, the Case-Shiller, these things don't look bad. Let's look at the numbers are coming down, so they're not increasing by as much, and I think that's good, and that's healthy, and I think this is where we want to be. Yes, it's too late to buy MSTX, yeah. Okay, virtual, I got to do, I can look, all right, SLB, we'll just roll through a bunch here. I'm just going to start up here. We'll roll through a bunch and start looking. Oh, wrong one. Let me go over here. Kill this real quick. And let me know, keep me abreast of anything that's going on in markets, guys, or if you see any new news out there for anything, throw it out there. SLB, I don't think I have that one, so I'll take a look. Actually, I'll probably, before I get into there, if I've never looked at one of these before, I'm going to look at the financials first. It's just how it works. And if it's too small, I won't be able to, which sucks. Schlumberger Limited. Let's see what their estimates are. So we got growth, positive EPS, forward PE of 11, very low. It is based out of Houston, Texas. It is oil and gas. All right, cool. No share dilution. Pretty good. Let's see, cash flow, 1.8 billion. This might be like a steady Eddie. I wonder if this thing has a dividend. Whoa, this is different. Sentiment. Hey, cool. Nice job, Alejandro. Stock twits, X Twitter sentiment, social media. Huh. All right, cool. So it's bullish on all these. Earnings call sentiment and analysis. This is nice, dude. I like this addition, bro. Short interest has went up a little bit, not much. A little bit of insider selling. As of recent, there was a lot of insider buying. Well, a little more than selling in Q1 of 2024. Really, though, over the last several years, they've been buying more than selling. So if this thing has a dividend, it could do all right. Again, the energy sector has been beat up for a while. So price was 61. Now it's down in the 38 range. Yeah, I can look. I'll pull it up real quick. If you're looking at something that's kind of like consistent, not going to yield like crazy returns, definitely not asymmetric, then this might work. Let me make a copy. SLB. Does have a dividend. What is the dividend payout ratios? 34.6. Let's see. What is the dividend like quarterly? 27 cents. 27 cents. 27. So, okay. So about 4 a year. 27 cents. $1 something in dividend off of a $38 stock. That's not a bad dividend. It has bounced a decent amount since the pandemic. But again, it was kind of rolling over for a while too. I don't know. We could probably call that. We can draw a fib on it, and then I'll save it. So pandemic low right here. Recent high right here. It's probably a little high. A little low. I got to fix it. So again, you're getting a nice little dividend here. A few percent on that. About 2.5% dividend, I think it was. And then, yeah, so fib gets us up to about the 101 range. I don't know. This could be interesting. For an energy play, this looks pretty interesting. I don't know, though. Is this a producer? What do they do in the energy sector? Producers, service and energy, probably doing really well. Producers, I don't know if they do as well. They're probably getting hit. So this could actually drop if it's a producer. I think they'll end up not doing as well. So I don't know if it's a good buy here or not. RCAT, do I already have this one? Here, let me see. I'll pull up the financials first. Just see if it's all right. Wow. Pretty good at losing money. Red Cat Holdings. Why does this thing sound familiar? San Juan, Puerto Rico. Computer hardware. Lots of share dilution. Revenue kind of fell off a cliff after growing. Net income, they lost $13 million in a quarter where they made 1.5. Free cash flow was negative $10 million. Sentiment is bullish to very bullish. There's no social media. They were selling the last quarter. There were a lot more insiders selling than buying. Institutional ownerships jumped up in Q4 2023, and now it's in decline. Short interest is growing. It's double digits now. Their estimates show massive revenue increases. I don't know how good these guys are at hitting or missing. I don't know. What else do we have to say about Red Cat? SLB is an oil and gas like drill bit. You can look at AMD Leaps. I mean, operating expenses don't seem to scale well. They got a lot more debt. They bled through their cash and their bonds over the years. I don't know, man. This seems like a lot of share dilution. I mean, again, it's exciting that their revenues are going up a lot, but does that actually mean does that actually mean they make any money? I mean, they're still losing money, but they're saying they're going to lose it at a lower rate. To me, this doesn't seem terribly interesting. I don't know if you have any additional information on it. Micron. Yeah, we'll pull that up. Micron, we've already looked at the financials a few times, so we'll just go over here and pull up the stock. And then again, in about 29 minutes, we'll get our final data point to see where market direction and where we're going. Markets have fallen back a little bit. Bitcoin's still holding on pretty good, 95.6, but the proxies are not holding on to their strength. MSTR is only up 1%. CleanSpark is barely up. Mara is about the same. So they're not doing super good. Glad I bought Hood today, though. Hood's still doing pretty good, up 2% on the day. So MU's down about 0.02%. It is down almost 50% from its high. Massive amounts of volume. You would think that, again, increasing amounts of volume, very interesting here. Definitely larger amounts of volume. We saw the largest volume candle right here. We've seen the largest volume wick we've seen in a very long time. Could mark a bottom on chips for this one. I mean, it's the largest volume candle since 2019 on the weekly. We've seen the largest volume on the weekly since 2019. So that's interesting. And again, we were broke down underneath the .618, but that's usually where you start to bounce. You can see where it's fallen underneath of it a few times and then went back up. So I don't know. This one's seeming like, it seems like I should probably get rid of this. And again, the next support's pretty clear. We got the 200 moving average on the weekly right here at 80. And then after that, it's really the 71. So those are the big support levels right there. I'm going to switch this, though, to a trend-based fib extension, just in case we do start going in the other direction. I want to see where it's likely to go. I'm probably going to do it after this longer time frame here, back in 2022. So we'll go to here. We'll go to here. We'll assume we've found the bottom. We might not have. And then again, we showed those support zones. So to get back to where it was, it's like 150. So about a doubling. To get to that, to get to the .618 golden retracement zone, where we'd probably want to find support. If we got up to here, or again back to the other high, we'd probably want to find support above this resistance zone that has really been, it was support back here and way back in 2015 or something, but it was resistance in 2018. It was resistance again in 2021. It tried to break above it, did it, fell back down really hard. So we'd want to turn that into a new support zone in order to be able to make like a new trade channel for that. All right, MDB. Do I have MDB? I feel like I do. Looks like I do. All right, so we drove this one from the pandemic up to here, back down to here. Again, we kind of made that measured move, though, so I feel like we almost need to redraw this. Let me just do this real quick if I can. Let's say this was the bottom. This was the top. And this was the bottom. Okay, so this is more relevant time frame because, again, we kind of already did the measured move in the other one. So if this is, in fact, the bottom, which I'm not sure of, near peak volumes here, just a hair underneath of it. Let me go back even further. Let's go to the weekly. So if we're near the bottom, then the .618 is over into the 472 range. But again, I don't know what the financials look like for this company. Let me just look. And then I'm going to try and get to virtual too because I miss this every time. I might not even make it to the final one, guys. I got to get to the gym. MongoDB. Oh, yeah. Okay. I forgot this name. I haven't looked at it in so long. Revenue going up. Net income almost positive. Only 9 million in losses. 529 in revenue. Cash flows positive. Customer count, everything's going up. Forward P's 126. That's a little rich, but that could change pretty good here in the future. So revenue's still going up and positive EPS for their guidance. I mean, it looks like they're starting to do the right stuff. Sentiment is very bullish all the way across. Stock to sentiment is neutral. I love this new tab. This is great. Alejandro's doing good work here. So we got some share dilution, but cash and bonds are growing. Debt is shrinking a little bit as of recent. Looks like they're doing a lot of the right stuff. They just need to get to positive territory. I think that's going to be a huge shift for them. My comment got lost in the milk talk earlier. You've looked at ASTS before, but they're gaining major contracts, and Fidelity just initiated a position. All right, we'll try and get to that. I might have to do more of these. Maybe I'll do a session tomorrow for a little bit where we just go over tickers. I think I might do that. I'm going to go to virtual real quick since I've missed it a few times. But I might just do another session tomorrow since we won't be open New Year's Day. Maybe I'll do it a little bit later in the day, like 10 or 11, so people are awake. Where if anybody wants to go over tickers, we do that. I don't know if I have virtual. I don't think I do. I might have to add it. Nope, I don't. All right, so let me take a look at this. Make a copy. Oh, let me do this too. Share. Make a copy. Virtual. And again, this is one of these AI coins. There's a huge list of them. And this might be, I don't know, people seem to think that this is the next area to go up. And that could be true. What's the best one? What's the best indice to pull this from? I'm probably just going to do Binance. I mean, there's others that are higher in the list. I'm just going to do Binance, I guess. What? There isn't a lot to look at here. There isn't a lot to look at here. I mean, it's just going up, right? Let me see. What is this? So this goes back to December 11th. Let's see if I can find anything older than that. Let's go to Bybit. Maybe it was on there first. Oh, yeah, much more. Let's go to daily. I'm going to assume Bybit is the starting exchange for this. I don't know. Maybe it was somewhere else. BTC. Yeah, it's near. Yeah, it's not too close. It needs to break out. It could break down first, guys. You got to be prepared mentally for that. Virtual. Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty much a straight up. There's not a lot I can do from a TA perspective. Unless there's an earlier exchange here. This is going back to November. It's like straight up, right? It was down at 29 cents and it's up near it. It's went up 10x. There isn't much I can do here. It's like a straight path up. It's not like I can draw like a fib-based trend extension. I maybe could do that here to here to here. But yeah, it's up. So there's not a lot of help I can provide there. Let me see here. Lots of comments. Is MicroStrategy close to a bottom? It could be if Bitcoin's close to a bottom. If Bitcoin isn't close to a bottom and it rolls over, then MicroStrategy is going to fill that gap in the 280s. So you got to be mentally prepared for that. Otherwise, though, it could be. We really got to get above. And I showed this earlier, guys. I'll just show it one more time. We got to get above. For Bitcoin, we got to get above the 50 moving average and turn it into support. If it can't do that, it touched it. It's retraced. It's trying to do a breakout here. It really needs to get above this red line, turn that into support, and then get above the 50, and then get above this 98 range. If it can't do that, we're rolling over. Still very possible. It's one of the reasons why I didn't buy a bunch of Bitcoin-related investments today, just in case. Because I can always liquidate this other stuff if it doesn't drop as hard, and then I can buy that. All right. All right, guys, I think I'm done for the day. Again, there's more data coming out in 20 minutes. Keep an eye out for it. I need to get to the gym. But the other data point is going to be the Dallas Fed services. They've looked pretty strong. If they continue that, then I think we go up. If they get weak, I think we can go down. But otherwise, I think that's it for today. I love you guys. I will talk to you later. And again, I'll probably do a stream tomorrow, maybe like around 10 or something, or 9, to give people time to sleep in. And then we can go over more tickers and talk about other stuff since the market's going to be closed. But otherwise, I'm calling it for today. I will see you guys later. Peace out, okay? Bye.